It is October 19th. October's almost gone.
It's not the 19th.
20th.
22nd.
22nd. Oh, Lord. October really is almost gone. Time's running out. It's almost November. And if it's almost November, it's almost Devember. Okay, Devember is happening right now thanks to Linode.
So, people have asked us. People have tweeted. Why would you tweet to get that information? Do you just want...
Go to the forum.
Just want personal contact? Is that what it is? I don't do DMs on Twitter. Here's how you get to be part of Devember. You come up with a project. Can't think of a project? Go to last year's Devember thread on the Level 1 text forum. Look at those projects. Get some ideas. Or just, explore around.
We did a guide on setting up WireGuard. We did a guide on... What else did we do? What did you do? I don't remember.
I don't either. We did some stuff and it's on video.
We did some amazing command line tutorial videos. You can use Linode for that and level up. There's $100 of free credits below. They actually have a whole content library of stuff that other content creators have created some really awesome videos for. And you can learn to do things like, what are the principles behind setting up WireGuard? Is this going to be a layer 2 or a layer 3 problem? Can I use IP tables? Or is this something I'm going to have to resort to using SOCAT for? Well, you can learn those things, and it'll be pretty amazing.
So, once you have decided on something to do, you must then create a thread on the Level 1 text forums and document your process of working on it. And, you can show us the warts and everything. Why not? That's part of it. By December 31st, you should have something working.
Complete.
It needs to do something.
Last year we judged a few incomplete projects. That will not be happening this year.
How many of those got completed ultimately?
Only like 1 out of 5.
Yeah. People got their motherboard or their video card or whatever, and then they just gave up. We can't let that happen.
You can also do the gaming challenge if the programming is a little bit too much like work. Sometimes I get into that. It's like, this is going to be an amazing and fun programming project. And I figure out the algorithm, and then you got to build the nice thing around it. And it's like, it feels a little too much like work.
Yeah, that last 10%. Plus, that last 10% is all the security that you didn't consider when you were prototyping it. And you're like, oh, I got to do that now?
I've proved to myself that I can do time travel. I don't really want to worry about the safety protocols. It's fine. We'll just not use this.
But you get a decent piece of hardware. If you rank pretty high, we'll have Linode credit again, right?
Yeah.
As part of the prize. So we actually had somebody last year who won a video card?
Yep.
And they said, you know what? No, I need the Linode credit. I'm actually working on something. So we switched them out, gave the video card to somebody else.
Nice.
They were super happy about it.
And this shortage, that's like gold.
Yeah, they probably won't do that again this year. Don't count on that.
I don't know. There was a shortage last year, too. It's been a while.
That's true.
So thanks, Linode, for sponsoring Devember, and let's get on with the news.
So social media, but it's pretty much just Facebook today. We got like 3 non-Facebook stories, and every one of these Facebook headlines is terrible. And this guy he was around early on in Facebook, and now he's looking at what they've become now. Not complimentary.
This is in Bloomberg, so it's, a lot of people are going to see this. One of Facebook's earliest investors says that people have lost trust in the company.
Can confirm.
In other news, water is wet.
He says he wants Facebook to be extra transparent, but wouldn't that just be worse once we knew exactly what they were doing? Wouldn't we hate them more?
Listen, we have decided to show you a lot of stories from your neighbor Karen because you seem to hate her, and you really engage with her content because you hate her so much.
You click so many more ads when you're angry.
Yeah.
It's adorable.
Yeah, it's like, why am I seeing this? And then you're forced to face a truth about yourself, and it, makes your day just a little bit worse.
Now, do you remember #delete Facebook?
I do.
Not a lot of people did it. I remember the stories when it happened. They were like, oh, wow, this could actually mean something to Facebook. Well, it turned out, didn't they benefit from it ultimately?
A couple of weeks later, there was a report about how they were suppressing delete Facebook for some reason. And that was purely just an algorithmic oversight.
And the number count actually went up ultimately.
Yeah.
No one was willing to give it up because here's the depressing thing, folks. You're addicted to it. It's your drug. And seems like there's nothing that'll stop you.
Groups launch How to Stop Facebook effort. And Facebook did not like that.
Very much did not like that. Now, these are industry groups. These are not names that I feel have a lot of power financially or commercially, but there's a lot of woke activist movement behind that.
Yeah.
So it could be an issue for Facebook. And they're really not mincing their words. They're not taking half steps here. They really want to destroy Facebook because they say it's bad. Bad for your health, bad for the economy, bad for everything.
You must reform.
I don't think they want them to reform. I think they want them to just disappear.
Yeah. Be replaced by other things.
That is a vacuum that will get filled by some nasty stuff.
Something from China, probably. TikTok, that would be worse.
That's kind of already happening, right? And we learned during the last presidential race that Facebook treats people different based on who they are. And it turns out they have a list of the worst people, but you're not allowed to know if you're on it.
Revealed Facebook's secret blacklist of dangerous individuals and organizations. Martha Stewart's on there.
She's a felon.
That obviously makes her dangerous. That and her association with known criminal Snoop Dogg.
That means she couldn't vote or carry a gun. Poor Martha. So yeah, they got all of these people on it, and it's a tiered list, right? So here's the crazy thing about it. Remember the kid that was going to go to MIT, and they found out he had liked a Facebook post or something like that? Well, it turns out that's the list. Now, how high on the tier of evil you are depends on not how they treat you, but how they treat people who view and like your posts. So if someone's on the list at that top tier and you just interact with them, now you're on a tier. Welcome to the ban list.
I was liking and supporting Enrico Fermi's posts on nuclear theory, and now they think I'm an Italian fascist.
Or an Iranian scientist, maybe. So yeah, that's unfortunate. A lot of these activist organizations are saying you need to show us this list. This needs to be public information because why shouldn't everybody look out for these people? But Facebook says no. And I remember this story. This was years ago. We talked about this. The Facebook marketplace, it turns out, in the Amazon rainforest, a lot of people will go and they'll just put a listing on the Facebook marketplace. And it's like, oh, yeah, here's 1 hectare of Amazon rainforest, slashed and burned, ready for planting. They don't own it. They just go and slash and burn it, sell it on Facebook, take the profits. It's actually protected Amazon land. No one can own it. But that doesn't stop the farmers from moving in. It has taken this long for Facebook to acknowledge this.
Facebook to act on illegal sale of Amazon rainforest. Oh, yeah, right. We should have probably dealt with that a long time ago, guys, huh?
A long time ago.
Oops.
I wonder what happens, though. Like, once you've established your farm, can't somebody come along and fix that?
Well, you can't, exactly regrow the Amazon rainforest overnight.
Is this... No.
It's a bow and arrow.
No, but the caption says, indigenous reserves. Surely to God, the indigenous people are not wearing masks in the Amazon. That can't be true. That's got to be a stock photo, right?
Careful with the transcript thing, because the transcripts might detect too many keywords close together.
Face cover. I forget it. Just forget it. Just
that guy has an awfully thin face book.
That's not a book on his face. And I suppose Facebook doesn't want you unfollowing people.
This I thought was within the letter of the law on the thing.
Doesn't GDPR require stuff like this?
You would think.
But no, but yeah, do you think that Facebook actively does not want you to unfollow because the bigger your network is, the more influence they have? That's the only reason I think that this makes sense.
Yeah. Facebook bans developer behind Unfollow Everything tool. So basically, this guy was fed up with his timeline being polluted with a bunch of crap because Facebook's like, oh, you like this and this? Let me just sign you up for this stuff. And you can always unfollow it, but it'll follow you faster than you can unfollow stuff manually. So he created a tool that would unfollow everything. And that let him keep up with his friends and message them, but it also meant that his timeline was basically free of everything except stuff that he explicitly picked. And Facebook came down on him hard.
Because I think if people gained that level of power over Facebook, they could whittle it down to just what they want.
Yeah.
And then Facebook wouldn't make any money off it.
He's one of the people that probably should be, I mean, if Congress is going to try to investigate this and figure it out, he's probably one of the people that should talk to them about his experiences with Facebook.
But he's still a Facebook user.
What better person to, a Trojan horse to bring the destruction from within?
Yeah, but that would mean that we set him up for that. He's doing it on his own. There's two sides to this war. You get to be on one, not both.
I'm just saying.
And this is hilarious, not only because it's a hilarious headline, but it's hilarious because of what happened to Apple last week. And somehow the memo didn't get over to Zuckerberg, I guess.
Facebook told staff that it would seal off some internal message boards to prevent leaking. This change was immediately leaked. It was like Tim Cook sent around the message at Apple last week that was like, you don't belong at this company if you're going to leak stuff to the media. We must, maintain a level of discretion here. And that leaked to the media.
It shows that there's a non-trivial portion of the employees at these companies who they loathe the CEOs. They know exactly who they are working for. They know how awful it is. And they're just making money.
I don't know
problems.
what else to do to earn a living. I don't know. I'm comfortable here. It's fine.
I support you. Listen, every once in a while, just destroy something in the building. Try to stop them any way you can. And Rohingya, is that how you'd say that? Rohingya?
That's a really good. It is now.
See what they're going to be correct. Rohingya Muslims. Now, here's the question I have to ask, and probably the comments are going to be like, bro, you have no idea. How many different kinds of Muslims are we genociding at any given time on this planet?
This is not good.
It's like we can't wait to genocide Muslims. And if you're a big tech company, you can't wait to help with that.
That's the Business Insider headline anyway. Facebook is fighting to keep records of its own investigation into the genocide of Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar out of court. Because it's really, really incredibly damning. That's why.
Now, this genocide wasn't like a state-sponsored type of thing. I mean, it might have been, but it wasn't like the military rounded them up. It's not like China. What happened was there was these like crazy Facebook posts that were blaming them for all kinds of things.
It was like the thing in India that we talked about like last year.
Yeah.
Where it was like there was a stoning because somebody posted a rumor and it was just people losing their mind.
And those rumors, they'd start picking up steam and all of a sudden you got a posse and then nothing good happens.
Yeah.
And in fact, the nothing good was genocide.
Yeah.
Now, Facebook had been warned, hey, you need to look at this. This is leading to deaths.
You need to police this content. And they're like, nah, we'll get to it.
They didn't do anything.
But
they're going to now.
Like the Amazon rainforest, I fear that, they can't put that CO2 back in the bottle.
You can't even replant Rohingya Muslims. Doesn't work that way. And Canadians, they're like us, but a little different. Some would argue that they're nicer.
So, in looking at over all of this darkness, when asked what the Canadians would say, this was the headline.
I would say the Canadians are a little bit ahead of us here, right?
Yeah.
They're a little bit smarter when it comes to social media.
Most Canadians believe that Facebook harms their mental health, a survey suggests.
They're right.
Yep.
I think that's kind of been proven, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, psychology is such a amorphous thing. But if we're going to believe psychology, if we're going to believe modern psychology and modern, studies in that way, Facebook is definitely not something you want in your life.
No.
So, but here's the thing about it. Despite that knowledge, they're still using it.
Yeah, they really are.
Those percentages don't make any sense once you figure out that they don't care. They're still doing it. Kind of like cigarettes. And like cigarettes, perhaps social media is the most threatening to those still developing. And we've learned a lot about that, a lot of science about that. And oh boy, Facebook does not like that at all.
Instagram is going to encourage teens to, quote unquote, take a break. This is created just as a prop for lawmakers so that when they're testifying before Congress, it's like, look, we created this thing. It says you should take a break.
I don't think they will.
They probably won't.
Snapchat is another social media site that I really just don't know anything about. I understand you post pictures on there, But you can do other things as well. You can sell things. You can even sell things that you're not supposed to sell.
Snapchat is going to try to boost its efforts to root out drug dealers. Again, in a prop to tell lawmakers, we're trying to police this. Look, we were selling stuff, Amazon rainforest stuff over here in this other Facebook product. Over here, we're dealing drugs. We're trying to put a stop to all that.
So it's actually interesting. They always knew that there was a pill problem on Snapchat, but they weren't really doing anything about it. What has motivated them is the fact that these are being sold as other kinds of pills, opiates, just regular opiates. But what they're actually, Percocet, OxyContin, I shouldn't say all those names, right? Opiates and that kind of thing. I think Xanax is actually something else. When you actually get it, that's not what you get. What you get is mostly powder and a little bit of fentanyl, which can be very dangerous.
They're trying not to murder you, but if you're not super addicted, your system will not deal with fentanyl properly and you will die.
And because there's so much filler and binding material, if they didn't mix very well, or just by some fluke you get 5 grains of fentanyl instead of 4, that could kill you.
Yeah.
Maybe don't buy pills on Snapchat. I know that's not going to influence anybody who's currently buying pills on Snapchat.
But it is interesting that that's what it took to finally get them to try to. It's like, hey, look, our numbers for usage, our product usage numbers was really, really good. And then this happened. And I guess we should do something about it.
You know whose numbers are really, really good? The pharma company that makes fentanyl. Nobody said anything to them, are they?
No, they've already arrested the other guy, and he's given up a small portion of his fortune, and so now he'll be left alone from now until the end of time.
Yeah, and the Purdue
people,
yeah. They were the granddaddies of it all.
Yeah.
OxyContin. Changed the world.
The Netflix special. Woo.
Twitter. For all that Twitter is a household name and it's part of our daily lives, it really is part of the culture now. But what it can't quite figure out how to do is make money.
They've got a new experiment in mind.
And I don't think it'll work.
No.
I don't think people will like this.
Twitter is testing inserting ads into conversations on iOS. So if you got an Apple device and you're having Twitter conversations, engagement challenge, let us know how effective that is.
You know who loves that news? Google.
Well, Google doesn't have Google Plus anymore.
It won't be long until they move it to the Android version, I'm sure.
Remember when Google was like, we're going to make Google Plus and everyone's going to use it? Narrator. No one used it.
I remember that. Most people probably don't. There's not much to remember.
Remember the Twitch leak? The Twitch source code leak?
The Twitch source code came out, and
out of an abundance of caution, we're going to reset your stream keys.
But people began poring over that source code almost immediately and finding little ways that they could mess with the Amazon-owned juggernaut.
Twitch defaced with pictures of Jeff Bezos. That's right. If you're browsing streams in certain categories, you get different action shots of Jeff Bezos.
Twitter is such a terrible interface. There he is.
That was the background image for, what was it? What game was it?
Back for Blood.
Yeah.
They had several of those. There were some other pictures also including him. And they quickly fixed it, but it is quite embarrassing.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't really like, I don't think they got anybody's information or anything. Not that we don't. I mean,
they were already in there.
Yeah. But I don't think they were able to hack. They were just able to affect some images. I think it was object storage, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, just embarrassing.
Oops.
I'm sure you give somebody a week, they'll figure out how to weaponize that, right?
Yeah.
And Epic Games finally may be admitting that this whole Apple, Google controversy is hurting them. Having Fortnite not be on iOS devices, it's a problem. You need a new revenue stream, right?
Epic Games may make Fortnite movie as part of entertainment expansion. What is that going to be? Is that going to be like, what is the game about the Chinese school on the island? Fight to the death, like Battle Royale, something.
I think it's pretty obvious what it's going to be, just based on, like what's popular right now. It's going to be Squid Game.
Oh.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of Squid Games coming up.
Or, Fortnite sitting around, it's like, man, if we had come out with Squid Game first.
But they kind of did.
In movie form?
The Battle Royale, yeah. Well, not in movie form, but The problem with this is Fortnite doesn't really have characters, does it? Or do they now?
They have the banana thing. The banana costume.
But how do you turn that into a movie character?
I don't know. They turned the poop emoji into a movie. They'll figure it out.
That's true. I shouldn't underestimate them. I'm sure it'll be terrible, though. Now, you've been playing Far Cry 6. Have you encountered the minigame yet?
Yeah. The chicken fighting minigame, yeah.
That's not what it's called.
I'm trying not to get us demonetized, damn it.
When I first started reading the story, I was like, what? No, they could not have put that in that game. That's crazy. But then when you find out what they did, it's kind of like they just had fun with it. Yeah. Right? I mean, were you offended at all?
No.
Yeah, I don't. This is weird.
Far Cry 6 draws PETA's ire because there's chicken fights in the game, kinda.
I think those are roosters.
Yeah. Rooster fighting game, yeah.
They don't have any screenshots. Comicbook.com.
That's a waste.
But they turned it into like a parody of the old side-by-side 2D, like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. But it's chickens, which is funny, right? PETA didn't like it.
PETA didn't like what it implies. So we will not speak of the bad old times.
That is a barbaric practice.
Yeah.
You got to admit.
Yeah. Still going on where we're from.
And where the people in Far Cry 6 are from.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to criticize that.
Well, technically where they're from is fictitious, so
That's what it's based on. I think we know.
We know.
We mentioned this like a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and I was like, "Oh, can they really do this?"
We made fun of this on Monday.
It's gonna happen. And did we already do this?
No, well, I just mentioned it because it went with another story we were talking about.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, this is going to make a huge difference as compared with, say, China's coal burning plants.
The absolute mad lads have done it.
California has a law to eventually ban gas-powered lawn equipment.
I think it's the end of the year, right?
Leaf blowers and lawnmowers and stuff like that. You got to go electric. To be fair, leaf blower internal combustion engines do produce an absurd amount of pollution. It is crazy.
Some of the most annoying noise polluters too.
Yeah. But
so it turns out it's January 1st, 2024.
But that pollution compared to literally everything else.
Yeah.
And also it's like individuals. It's like, save the environment. It's on the individuals to save the environment. I've got news for you. Whether or not you eat meat is not going to make a huge difference in greenhouse gases.
You could be the biggest eco-warrior, Greenpeace. You could bomb buildings. Whatever you think you have to do to save the planet, you're not going to make a difference. That's just the sad reality of it.
We have to do CO2 capture in industry, period. There's no other option. Everything else is just, what do they call that? Peeing in the wind?
I think there is a third option that you're ignoring.
Massive depopulation?
War with China, which leads to massive depopulation.
Well, things are getting real dicey in the South China Sea, so you may get your wish.
Yeah, but I know it's not my wish. Now, I like the idea of depopulating, but I don't want to live through that. I don't think anybody does. You talk about a chip shortage.
Yeah, for about a decade.
Yeah, we're talking about serious, I guess, food. We'd have corn. Are you ready to eat corn for every meal?
The only thing that we can eat is corn.
All corn all the time. Oh, Jaffa Cakes. For a while, on our Twitch stream, people were sending us international foods to try.
These were delicious.
I was disappointed in the Jaffa. These are the orange flavored ones. Right?
I like the better. Yeah, I like the chocolate covered
hobnobs.
Hobnobs, yeah.
So hobnobs are really
with tea,
good.
with a good strong tea. Oh, so good.
When it comes to British snacks, hobnobs, awesome. Jaffa Cakes, I'm not crazy about.
Jaffa Cakes are like 6 out of 10.
They were very chewy.
Yeah.
But real popular over there, and people, you want a snack in the middle of the day, you make some bad food decisions, you grab some Jaffa Cakes, but for the love of God, make sure you pay the full price.
Jaffa Cakes row, PC Chris Dwyer sacked from force. So this was like a police chief or something, and in the commissary in the office, it was £1 for a pack of these cakes.
But it wasn't just like a vending machine or something. This was a charity thing.
Mm.
So you know how people do that, like sell candy bars or whatever. They were going to go to Uganda on some kind of mission trip or something, I think. So he wasn't just stealing He was stealing from the charity.
He paid 10 pence, not £1. That's a pretty big difference.
That's 90 pence difference.
They dismissed him, and they were like, I don't understand why somebody in a position of authority would abuse their authority and do this.
But I think the thing that got him, I think if he would have just been like, you got me. I didn't have any change in my pocket. But when they confronted him on it, he was like, you're crazy. I put 5 20 pence pieces into that tray. Well, the cameras are pretty good at the old police station. They proved that was not the case. Do you think he can ever buy Jaffa Cakes again?
No.
And enjoy them? Is that just? Can he even walk down the aisle?
He probably lost his pension.
Well,
Most expensive Jaffa Cakes ever.
But we gotta throw credit, cultural difference credit here, right? This story, this guy did this. He was a cop. He was someone in authority. He tried to abuse his power. They got him. They shut him down. It's a beautiful story. Our version of this, do you remember a couple of weeks ago, the multi-time felon forgot to pay for the Mountain Dew.
Oh, yeah. And he was arrested.
On the 3 strike. Yeah. He's doing the rest of his life in prison. That's the two cultures side by side. I mean, that guy was an awful person. He was a repeat offender, and he probably would have done it again, but still, it was a Mountain Dew.
As a taxpayer, I don't want him to be in prison for the rest of his life.
No, because it doesn't help me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just hurts us. You know what we should do? We should send him over there. Squid Game is a worldwide phenomenon at this point, and people are crazy about it. And I got to say that the iconography, the set design, I don't know if I've ever seen better set design and costume design.
I haven't watched it.
Oh, I'm gonna give you a quick review of Squid Game, right? Art style, set design, all that stuff, 9 of 10. Story, 7 of 10. Editing and pacing, 2 of 10. The editor should be subjected to a Squid Game. It's ridiculous. There's scenes where they're just walking down an alley and it's a steady cam following someone's back. 30 seconds. 30, 45 seconds.
Wow.
Why?
Build tension? I don't know.
Should have been 6 episodes. 6 games, 6 episodes. There's no excuse for what that is. But otherwise, excellent. I would say go ahead and watch it. Don't spend money to watch it. That's my review. The art style does absolutely, it's all completely based around these 3 shapes. And it's brilliant, and that's why.
Squid Game, police reassure motorists over the M4 road sign. These are road construction signs. Apparently, some of you have only been driving for a few weeks now, and somebody saw this and said, oh, is that a Squid Game? Is that what's going on? It's like, no, this is a warning that there's road construction on this exit.
But to go to the Squid Game, you get a little card. That's exactly what's printed on it.
Well, the symbols are in a different order.
Oh, wow. That changes everything. Fast food is in a crunch.
We covered that one last week.
Oh, did we?
We did.
I have no memory of that.
It's Cane's, Raising Cane's. They're sending their executive team to the front lines to service the...
Continue to avoid them.
Yeah.
Because the executives will make crappy tendies, I bet. I really wish Krista was here for this one because she, of course, is the artist and she has studied all this nonsense because she went to an art school.
The quote from the curator was hilarious.
Yeah, they're really this is not the first time that this controversy has come up.
Right, yeah.
But it may be the most extreme in terms of censorship.
Art or censorship? Expo shows just the top of the famed David statue.
But not even much of the top.
And this is because he's completely naked. So this is a reproduction also. The original has not moved from wherever it is in Italy. But this particular exhibit can show the full statue or just the top. And the curator of this exhibit has said, well, I get to pick and choose, who's going to see the whole thing and who's not, because not everybody's ready for that.
Basically, if you're rich or have power, they're going to let you look at the pee-pee. Otherwise, no pee-pee.
Doesn't that mean we've regressed since the time of the Greeks fairly significantly in this regard?
In a lot of ways, I think we have. So, and it's in, was it Dubai? So probably it's the censorship has to do with, in Dubai. So it probably has to do with religion. Obviously. I mean, if you can't let a woman eat pizza on TV, how are you going to let her look at that? This is Canada, right? Yeah, HMCS. The Canadian Navy had a little bit of an episode where some embarrassing things happened, and because we live in a hilarious internet world, it was immediately parodied. And what did they do? Did they take that as a lesson and learn from it and admit their mistakes? Of course not.
No. Parody music video about Navy officers sparked a countrywide search for the culprit. So apparently some Navy officers were smoking somewhere that they should not.
In the wardroom, which is hilarious because the parody is smoking in the boys' room.
Yeah.
Smoking in the wardroom.
And this apparently made the Navy, like the Navy command, furious because they played this over the internal ship communication system or whatever, and they lost their minds.
So there's a little bit more to the original story, though, that really spices up the story. So this guy shut off. Obviously, this is a sailing ship. You have to be really careful about fire, right? So there is a system of heat and smoke detection. A cigarette, even if it doesn't catch the smoke, it'll see the ember and it'll be like, nope, that doesn't belong here in this room. Let's do something about that. An alarm will go off. So this guy turned both of those off. Here's the thing. 4 weeks earlier, there'd been a fire.
Not real wise.
Not wise at all. And of course, he was found out, and they made the parody, and all of a sudden, it became about attacking the person who made the parody, not the guy who smoked the cigarette.
Sounds like the governor of Missouri and that whole reporter thing with the right-click view source.
Except in this case, it's so much easier for the person in power to abuse that power because the military really enables that. So they should really throw the book at that guy. I don't think they will, though. This is our just insane wokeness. Like, we keep going toward this world where, it's 1984. It's cliche at this point, but it's a perfect comparison.
Teachers have been banned from telling students that they are good and bad, as the head wants to take the emotional heat out of class. I could see this up through like first or second grade, but then after that, it's like, no, Timmy, you're going to have to think about long-term career options because you just can't read.
You have to break them early. It's like a pet. If you don't socialize it when it's young, you're going to have problems. Now, you can't say good or bad, but you still need to express those thoughts, right? Like, we don't stop expressing the thought. We just change the word, which makes no sense. So now, if a child does something bad, you will say that they are unskillful. Isn't that worse? Isn't one just a decision that you made, and the other one is your aptitude?
Yeah.
I would rather be bad than unskillful.
Sometimes you can make up for a lack of skill by redoubling your efforts.
Yeah, up until about 6th grade. Then the wheat gets cut from the chaff. Actually, you can do that well into high school.
Yeah.
But college will usually get you. Although these days, with the way colleges are now, I bet you can do that even up there.
I think the successful college would shunt some of those students into a vocational program because you could be a perfectly functional vocational whatever.
My mind auto-completed that. And when you said VO, I was like, oh, volcano, yes. Could we make some Bitcoins with that somehow? Well, we've learned about IT workers who have spied, they've harassed, they've stalked, they've mined Bitcoin, and they all get caught. You should not be doing this stuff.
Ex-IT manager admits embezzling laptops and says that he spent the money on female online live streamers. I would have liked some more details on this, but it seems like that he just straight up stole laptops. But they use the word embezzled because...
because what he did was he placed large bulk laptop orders and then went into the spam filter and spam filtered all the manufacturers. So as they were emailing, like, where's the payment? This guy was just getting the laptop.
Wow.
But how much simping can one man do with laptops? Over $111,000.
That's crazy. That's completely nuts.
I want to see this girl. What kind of siren can make a man do that? They also mentioned
that might be our title this week. Is like the thought that launched 1,000.
No, we can't do thought.
Oh yeah, that's right. We can't. That launched 1,000 laptops.
There was a quote in here. His lawyer. Oh yeah, He added that his client was fearful that the influencers would close down their channels and that this snowballed over time, resulting in his offenses. So they somehow convinced them if he wasn't simping as hard as he was and harder, they were just going to go away completely. That's a completely idle threat. Of course they're not going to do that.
Yeah. Disturbing.
That's a real mental issue right there, right?
Yeah.
That's somebody who needs perhaps to be in a building that doesn't have locks on the inside of the doors.
Store.level1text.com.
We don't sell doors.
Buy nice mouse pads and other compulsory. I don't know.
The leader of Samsung has had some controversy.
I got the feeling that this was, they let him out early, and then I got the feeling that he went back to some stuff, and I get the feeling this was kind of a warning to be like, we're still here.
This is like when they got OJ for the memorabilia.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, we missed you the first time.
Yeah.
But this also is a crazy thing because if you'll remember, this was what killed Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Samsung leader Lee admits in court to unlawful sedative use. It's like, I just wasn't feeling good. And, he doesn't say that it was recreational.
Well, he
just
says because his father died.
Yeah.
And then like a week later, he got the charges that put him in prison. And then he couldn't sleep, I guess, or couldn't relax.
Yeah. So this is after they let him out. I guess some people were unhappy about that. So now this.
Well, this is well after Michael Jackson died.
Well,
we knew what risks were involved here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You think this might have been something else?
I don't know because that propofol is not recreational, right? Like any high that you get off that, and I'm sure you get a high, like you get a crazy high, but it's probably 5 seconds, and then you're just asleep.
Well, it seemed like they were trying to blame him though, rather than like, what you're saying suggests that the medical professional was like, well, I can give you this, but it's a little off books. And the way that the court thing made it sound was that, he was basically holding a medical person hostage. It's like, no, you will give me this because I need to sleep.
Yeah, I think he was holding him hostage with bags of money.
Yeah.
Same way Jackson was.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Apparently in the Korean law, whoever administers it gets the same sentence. So I'm sure that this is not over.
Interesting.
But I think they're just going to slap him on the wrist, right?
I would think so.
Nothing really going to
happen. I really think this is a general warning to like not mess with the business end of things, or they'll find something else to pin on him.
You know what? I don't think he'll lose any sleep over it. And our feel-good pet story of the week involves a very overweight cat.
Overweight cat causes Aeroflot to strip member of air miles.
We might have...
Oh, no, a driver crash.
Oh.
There we go.
It's back.
It recovered. Yay. So this guy got some friends on the ground. He was flying internationally. And if your cat is so big, they put it in the cargo hold. But if it's small enough to fit in the backpack, they'll let you carry it on. And so he wanted to carry his cat on, but his cat was too fat to do that. So he got some friends to grab a lookalike cat, and he was able to use the lookalike cat to have them weigh it and say, okay, this is fine. Then he swapped the lookalike cat for his real cat, and he would have gotten away with it, but he posted on Facebook, hey, look what I got away with. And then Aeroflot was like, that's not okay.
And in response to their denying his miles, he posted a baby picture of the little cat. That is a pretty good sized cat. Look at that big thickness in the back there.
I was on Aeroflot's side, but the picture of the cat in the backpack, it's like the cat still fits in the backpack. What's the problem here?
Yeah, their cutoff was what, 8 kilograms, and he was 13.
Yeah, I mean,
that's pretty big. That's like double. That's a fat cat. But it's not going to crash the plane.
No.
And there's a picture of him holding it there.
Yeah.
Toast.
If it was a well-behaved cat, that's fine.
Toast is at least that fat. Well, maybe not that fat, but he's getting there. He's just getting fatter. I don't know what to do about it. And our final story.
This just makes you angry.
Not only does it make you angry, but it just makes you sit and question, like, do they not know that we know this?
At least the UK is going to look just as incompetent, as corrupt, and terrible as the US for once.
No, because the FBI, they forgave all of this to get to Assange.
Yeah.
It shows that they would have done anything. They would have gotten in bed with anybody. It didn't matter. It was all about hurting Assange.
Yeah.
And can anybody argue, of the two, Who would you rather be living in your town?
Not Assange probably should.
Let's say you're gonna rent your house out for an Airbnb. Which one would you rather live in your house?
I would probably trust Assange a lot more.
A lot more, because the other guy is a pedophile.
Key witness in Assange case has been jailed in Iceland after admitting to lies and an ongoing crime spree. So the judgment utilizes a rarely invoked law intended to stop repeat offenders from running amok, accumulating criminal cases before the system has a chance to catch up. So that's how crazy this is. Like, you read in, like, I thought, oh, the headline here, there's got to be more to this. You read into it, and it's like, no, this guy was basically going around saying, hey, the FBI gave me immunity. I'm just going to do whatever I want, and there's nothing you can do. And it's just jaw-dropping.
Yeah, so this little exchange here. So this guy, I don't know if it's alleged or not. I think they proved it, right? Well, he admitted to some of it. Molesting children. I don't know how old this kid was, but, you know, young enough to be counted as that thing. And they interviewed him about it, and he admitted it. He admitted that he did it. Then this kid committed suicide when the authorities dropped the case.
Yeah.
Because
the FBI
needed him.
Yeah.
So the FBI pretty much directly killed a kid there. And then his response, I know that. Believe me, I know 100%. I even tried to talk to the state prosecutor and ask, for sake of argument, if this case could be addressed to bring to a close. They said no. That's the guy. That's the guy that did it, saying that.
The guy that's responsible, yeah.
And you should read these interviews, because he is so candid about everything,
yeah,
including his string of fraudulent businesses, yeah, which is why he's locked up right now. But he said it wasn't illegal, just amoral. Basically, he's running businesses into bankruptcy so fast that they can't prosecute him until he does it over and over. You got to admit
that's one of the key witnesses that has been keeping Assange locked up in the UK.
Because we can trust his word, right?
Yeah.
He would never just say something to get something he wants.
Yeah.
Especially not now that he's in prison.
It's super depressing.
It is super depressing. If you embarrass power, it's worse than pedophilia. That's what we're saying officially. Not only is it worse, it's way worse. It's like 7-8 times worse, because that's how many counts this guy had against him. That's how many victims there were.
Yeah.
Plus fraud. Sprinkle on some fraud on top of that.
A lot of fraud. It's not really a sprinkle. It's like it's a garnish. It's garnished with fraud.
Well, sure.
But yeah, no, super, super disturbing. And super, super disturbing that, like, no one in that entire chain is willing to step up and say, hey, guys, I know we've been playing it this way for the last decade, but maybe this is wrong. Also, and we shouldn't do that.
Also, how long was this the #1 news story in the country?
Oh, yeah, for like 6 months.
No, I mean this thing right here.
Oh, no.
0 seconds.
Yeah.
It's buried. Where did we find it? It wasn't like...
It was the only thing that was news here was the whole Hillary thing, where it was like, we should just drone him.
This is an Icelandic website. I don't know if I saw an American website that covered this.
Probably not.
Shocking. Although it's not shocking, because we see it all the time. It's just depressing.
Just one step short of harvesting his kidneys.
You think they're worth anything at this point? I think they've basically almost
probably
killed
ruined,
him at this
yeah.
point, right? The starvation and the beatings.
Yeah. Great. All right, we'll see you next week.